Hello, I'm Elizabeth Webb, your yoga lifestyle coach. And today we have an episode that uses a lot of downward dog. So let's begin. As we come up to standing, we'll have an awareness of our posture. Be on your mat in mountain posture. Release the shoulders, stand tall. Be aware of your breath, breathing deeply, and exhale, fold. As you inhale, come into a half lift, straightening your spine. And then bring the hands behind your back, clasp your hands, lifting your arms up, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And as you squeeze the shoulder blades together, maybe the arms come closer to the ground overhead. And breathe here. Feel the ribs expanding. Feel the arms coming closer together, palms together. Breathe in and out. And one more deep breath in. And then let go. Release into ragdoll. In ragdoll, turning the head, releasing the shoulders. Inhale into our half lift, nice straight spine. And as we exhale, release down to the ground. Nice deep breath in, half lift. Exhale and release. So how is everybody doing? Doing all right? Yes? Okay. Here's our first downward dog. And in our downward dog, lengthening through the legs, pressing the heels down to the ground. The abdominal muscles are engaged. Sit bones facing up to the sky. And then moving into our child's pose, bringing the hands back to the toes. We could massage the feet if we want to. And then we'll prepare for another downward dog, stretching the arms, an extended child's pose out in front of us. Press through the legs and feel the body coming up. The abdominal muscles are strong, guiding the sit bones up to the sky. And just seeing how you're doing. Okay, looks good. And extended child's pose. This can be a resting pose anytime during this routine today. And here, let's bring our knees bent, bending our feet, and lengthening through the front body. As you're lying on your front body, see if you can feel the front of the body, the thighs, maybe the abdomen, releasing and opening and stretching. Now let's bring our hands underneath the shoulders, and then we'll come up into downward dog, aware of lengthening through the legs. Breathing deeply and fully. Downward facing dog. Such a wonderful pose opener. Preparing for bow pose, bending our knees, reaching our arms back towards the ankles, hands holding onto the ankles, and lifting, reaching, Breathing. Legs are doing all the work. As the legs extend, the arms go along for the ride. And as we come up, we can inhale. As we go down, we can exhale. If possible, let's try to stay up, or we can recline in a yoga swing like what I'm doing here. And then breathing, whether we're holding the pose up while we're breathing, or whether we're exhaling and inhaling as we come up and down. This is your practice. Allow this to be what it needs to be for you. Aware of your breath. Your breath is your guide. Let's hold this for about 10 more seconds. And when you're ready, we can release. And as we release, coming back into downward dog, I did say we're doing downward dog a lot, which is so vital for the shoulders, the legs, the hips, the entire back body. And let's get ready for pigeon on our left leg, holding downward dog for a couple more breaths first. Breathing deeply and fully. Legs nice and long, nice and strong, heels pressing down into the ground. Left leg lifts, bending the knee in the air, bringing that bent knee all the way up between the hands. And aware of our breath, aware of lengthening the front of the torso, breathing deeply and fully. Feeling the length, maybe through the thigh, the hips, and practicing our dristi, having our eyes stayed still on one object. Breathing fully, completely, allowing us to move back into downward dog. Downward facing dog, breathing fully and completely, lifting that right leg nice and high, bending the knee and bringing that bent knee all the way up between the hands, opening the front body and aware of our hands, and the fingers are spread. And as the fingers are spread, pressing down into the ground, but yet we're lifting our torso away from our hands. So we're not relying on putting pressure in the hands. Breathing fully, deeply, and completely. Making our way back into downward facing dog. How's everybody doing? How are we doing? Doing all right? Moving into our extended child's pose. And from there, the hands are strong, helping us come up into downward facing dog. Breathing deeply, preparing for plank pose. Releasing the knee, lifting the opposite arm, and allowing that arm to reach up into the sky. Aware of our breath. Aware of breathing. And releasing, pressing back, extended child's pose. And staying here, lifting into downward facing dog, and then dropping the other knee, preparing for side plank on the other side. And that opposite arm reaches up to the sky, opening the chest. Breathing deeply and fully. And release. Extended child's pose. Breathe. Stretch. We're going to begin our Series A, which is 4 movements. We start with downward dog, then come into a plank, please, and then we hover above the ground, and we end with cobra. And again, please, let's start downward dog. We're going to do 8 of these. Now we're doing our second plank, hover, and coming into that second cobra, moving into downward dog, and plank, hovering above the ground. Inhale, come up into cobra. Exhale, coming into downward dog. Inhale, coming into plank. Exhale, nice and strong, hovering above the ground. Shoulders are strong. Elbows together. Inhale, cobra. And breathing completely with each movement. Continue through this Series A, 4 movements. Aware of the breath. And remember, when we're moving backwards, that's the exhale, downward dog. And when we're coming down to the ground, inhaling, exhaling down to the ground, inhale away from the ground. Aware of resting in child's pose anytime you would need to. Breathing, aware of the flow. 4 flow, Series A. Breathing, aware of the breath. Exhale, downward dog. Last one. Let's do one more. And exhale, down. Inhale, up. Wow, okay. You did a good job. Wonderful. We made it through 8. Usually I'd suggest 108 of those, but we're doing good with 8 of them today in our time together. Just checking in, seeing how everybody's doing. Oh, good. And now let's move into a side bend. I like to call this the mermaid pose. And we're opening up the side ribs. We've got the knees bent over to one side, lifting one arm up, and then lift the other arm up and over. And coordinate. We're doing yoga, so coordinate it with your breathing. Be aware of your shoulder blades together, arms long and strong. Just back and forth like a mermaid would be swimming in the water, breathing fully, completely. Back and forth. Feel the intercostal muscles within the ribs opening as we lengthen. And breathe and reach. Reaching and switching. Taking our legs, swinging our legs over to the other side. And be in whatever comfortable position you can be in with your legs. Whatever can work for you. Just be aware of whatever you're doing. It's opening up the side ribs. Breathing fully and completely. Breathing, reaching, making it work for you. Maybe holding onto your ankle and pulling yourself over. Maybe reaching, bending that lower elbow so you can reach over. And having that awareness of the shoulders, shoulder blades together, and upper back strong, helping. Breathing and reaching. Mermaid is such a wonderful pose where it helps to oxygenate the body. And we begin to feel that oxygenation giving us vitality, allowing us to move through our day. So I trust we're doing okay, and let's move on. And coming again, of course, into a downward dog and then down onto our elbows. And as we come into our dolphin pose, staying in the water, then the knees are bent, lengthening through the legs, lifting the hips, pressing the elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, outer fingers into the ground, pressing the hips up to the sky. Breathing fully, completely, resting anytime you need to. Otherwise, we're really trying to stay here in our dolphin pose, pressing through the arms, bringing the torso up and out of the arms, pressing the heels down into the ground, nice straight legs, and then resting. Are you doing okay? That was a long time to hold that. Good. Glad to see everybody's doing all right. And let's continue. In our camel pose, we can clasp the hands behind our back, bringing the shoulder blades together, lifting the chest up, arching back, maybe holding the gluteus muscles or the hamstrings can help us come deeper into our back bend. And be aware if your feet are flat or if your toes are tucked under. And notice how you're feeling, hands towards the heels if possible. And then extended child's pose, reaching the fingers, pressing the palms down into the ground as though you're pressing your mat forward, pressing your hips backward. And let's just be here now. Okay, glad to see you're doing okay. And in our spinal twist, bringing that left leg over the right leg and finding a comfortable position so that we can be aware of the sit bones. And we're waiting. We're figuring out how to be in this pose so that we can wait and feel both hips with the same amount of pressure. Taking that right arm nice and high, bending, bringing that bent elbow to the outside of that left knee. And maybe that right leg needs to be straight, or like I'm doing here, can keep it bent. Breathing fully and completely. And then coming back to center, unwinding, changing legs, bringing that right leg on the outside of the left if possible, and then taking that left arm all the way up into the sky. When we're ready, first we're waiting for the hips to become on the ground, releasing, staying here, waiting, readjusting as necessary. Ah, yes, and then once we feel the hips, are you ready? Okay. Now let's take that arm up into the sky, bending it, bringing that bent elbow on the outside of the knee, or you can use your hand to pull the knee so that we're aware of breathing. We're aware of twisting. The abdominal muscles are nice and strong. Shoulders open. Shoulder blades coming towards each other. Okay, good job. Release. Letting go. And now let's prepare for our boat pose. Nice straight spine that leans back. And as we lean back with our spine, heels off the ground, engaging the abdominal muscles, and straightening one leg and then the other leg, and lengthening through the arms, resting, finding your position, staying in the position if you can, resting when you need to, coming back and joining us after you've had a rest, aware of the breath. And then breathing. Yes, beautiful. Strong abdominal muscles. Nice strong legs. And the legs nice and strong, lengthening. And now let's recline. Wow, we did a great job today. Now we'll open the body into our deep relaxation as we take time to slowly lower down onto the ground. Let go. Relax. How's everybody doing? Are we ready for deep relaxation? Yes, good. Letting go and releasing. And as we relax, we can become aware of even our facial muscles, releasing and letting go, letting the jaw release. Allow the eyes to relax. Yes, good. Closing the eyes. Good job. And as we continue to allow those facial muscles to relax, we can feel the tension releasing from the face. And now we can just be right here, knowing that our throat is relaxed as well. And then let's go ahead and bend our knees, keep the torso relaxed, and we'll roll over onto our side, and then we'll gently press ourselves up to sitting. And as we sit nice and tall, can bring the hands together in front of our chest. Take a deep breath in, and then with an exhalation, we can bow our head. The light within me sees that same light within you. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this yoga journey.